to see some news on CNN, 8 people infected and then 23 people infected. And so when I got to the service that night, I said, you know what? We've been having teachings and preachings and sermons at the different revivals I've been having all over China with the ICFC. And I said, but today we're going to go to war. There's a virus has been released. This is city of God. So let me just go over real quick. Facts. Fact number 1, COVID came from Wuhan. Fact number 2, why is Wuhan significant? It is the center of the spider web. It is the hub of delivery for the rest of the country. If you drop anything in Wuhan, it will spread to the entire country. Do you understand that? If you have any intention to spread anything throughout the country, even bags of rice, it starts from Wuhan. Okay? Coincidence? Number 3, the only biochemical lab in the country. The only biosafety level 4 lab in the country. Okay? Point number 4 comes from a bat. We've seen that there on the news article I showed you. Number 5, the U.S. Mint, Federal Reserve and the U.S. Mint, the Council on Foreign Relations, the deep state government powers, decided months to years ago to release a new 25-cent piece with a bat, the quarter. Point number 5, the Lancit says that it did not come from a fish market. It did come from a bat, but not from a market. Patient number 0 to number 2 or 3, none of them had any affiliation or ever been to the market or ate any exotic animals. Point number 7, this coronavirus was patented in 2017, and one of the patent holders is the Bill Gates Foundation. There's 4 or 5 in this particular LLC that had patented. One of the members is Bill Gates Foundation. The other ones I don't remember offhand. Point number 8, the Rockefeller Foundation, which my friend was just shadow banned. One of our members of the church just posted about it, was shadow banned by Facebook when he typed it in. Rockefeller Foundation in 2010 had listed 4 scenarios that will happen by the year 2020. The first one is called lockstep. Asher, I can't see the messages. Wake up. Lockstep. Okay. Lockstep, which means that under this scenario, every citizen in the free world will come into lockstep obedience with an authoritarian. Turn the AC down, make it colder. We'll bring the authoritarian paternal state to take the controls and the freedoms of all its citizens, as citizens will happily, watch this, citizens will happily surrender their freedoms for the sense of safety. I saw it written today by Candace Owens. She said that those who surrender their liberties for safeties deserve neither liberty nor safety. Powerful words from the founding fathers of the United States. Americans have forgotten where we come from. Somebody type that into the comment, please. Don't touch anything, okay? Just sit down, relax, and watch the video. Don't touch anything. Matter of fact, put our website on the screen. I'm paying my son $100 a month to help me. Amen. A workman is worthy of his labor, but he keeps monkeying around. Sometimes we're in the middle of the broadcast and he's doing push-ups and sit-ups and biting his nails. God bless him. He's only 8 years old. What can you expect? I think it's against the law. You're not supposed to hire kids under 18, but I hired my son. Amen. Good to see you, Hugo. So, lockstep. Please type that into the comment. Not lockstep, but I want my viewers to type it in. We have 13 people live. I want you to type in what Candace Owens said, which is a quote from our founding fathers. Those who surrender their liberties for safety deserve neither liberty nor safety. This was a quote from our founding fathers. If somebody could even put who actually wrote that, you could post that in the comments along with who wrote that. So Lockstep says that by the year 2020, that there will be a virus released in China, and that this virus would cause a global pandemic, and China will deal with this pandemic in such a great way, it will be applauded by the international community, and then other nations will begin to come in, and they will begin to create this lockstep government, seizing transportation, stopping the tourism industry, crashing the economies, quarantining communities and cities, stopping all commerce, shutting down restaurants, emptying down malls, and that all this would take place in Lockstep Program 2020. And this is not something that was written yesterday. I know some of you anti-conspiracy theorists will say, oh, somebody probably wrote that up last week. There's video online of this being read in 2014. So there's a journalist in 2014 who got this particular document from the Rockefeller Group, and he's reading about it, and he's talking about it, he's interviewed in 2014, saying what would happen in 2020 according to the Rockefeller plan, lockstep. So you are wrong. This is not something that somebody photoshopped. Because to be honest with you, I thought maybe this is photoshopped too. That was the first thing. We have a tendency to not want to believe. We want to believe the news. We want to believe Chris Como. We want to believe CNN and Al Jazeera. There's a tendency for us to want to believe them, to want to believe the best in people. Others of us are just skeptics, but a little skepticism goes a long way. It can be helpful. But the fact is, this document by the Rockefeller Foundation, here we go. Rockefeller Foundation, the Global Business Network, a member of the Monetary Group. All of these are the world elite organizations that are running planet Earth, the banking cartels that are running planet Earth. It's all right here. This was from 2010, and we have video of it read online, brought out by a journalist in 2014, of what would happen in 2020. So let me go over the facts. Fact number 1. Out of Wuhan. Number 2, Wuhan's the center point. Anything you put in Wuhan will spread to all of the country. Number 3, Wuhan is the only biosafety level 4 lab in the country. Point number 4, it comes from a bat. Point number 5, the U.S. Mint Federal Reserve had planned for months to years to release the 2020 bat as a public statement of something. The Lancit says in point number 6 that it did not come from a fish market because it's not a fish market leak. It is at point number 9, it is man-made. Man-made. Okay? Point number 9 is man-made. Point number 6, not from the fish market. Okay? Point number 7, it was patented in 2017. One of the owners of that is Bill Gates. The coronavirus, COVID-19, was patented in 2017. Number 8, the Rockefeller Foundation here in 2020 said that in the year 2020, we'd have released a pandemic of a virus that would do exactly detailed. It would go in China, it would come from China, China would shut it down, they'd be praised as a hero, other countries would take step, and then the humanity will lose and would gladly forfeit their human rights for a safety and security and paternal state, a police state. All of this is just facts. I'm not giving you no conspiracy. I'm not giving you my opinions. I'm just giving you facts. Okay? Number 9 fact here, Francis Boyle. Francis Boyle says not only was it man-made. Now, Francis Boyle is not a conspiracy theorist. Francis Boyle is the drafter of the Biological Weapons Anti-Terrorism Act of 1989. He's the man who made the legislation. He's behind the scene doctor. And he says here, let me read it to you without losing my notes. We're on point number 9. The virus went into the seafood market before it came out of the seafood market. That's not him, that's Tom Cotton, a U.S. Senator that said that. A U.S. Senator also said, I'd like to note that China has the only biosafety level 4 super laboratory that works with the world's most deadliest pathogens, including coronavirus. So here we go. Senator Cotton from the United States of America said in Congress a few weeks ago, the coronavirus is in the Wuhan lab. This is a fact. Somebody say it with me, fact. Type it in. F-A-C-T. It's not a theory. I'm not coming to you with any theories. It's just the facts. All you non-believers in facts get me angry. You like being a fool? You like being a dummy? I don't understand it. When you have facts by the U.S. senators, by the scientists, and you still deny the facts. The fact is, this virus was in, the coronavirus has been for many years. There is published articles from the Chinese laboratory scientists working in the lab about the virus and the different tests that they're making. There's 2 published reports, and you can find that on the YouTube news channel NTD. And if you speak Chinese, you can find it in Chinese actually too. Okay, let's go here. Yep, authors were clever to victory. Let me give you this here. I want to give you what the United States legislator had, who wrote the legislation for bioweapons, what he said here. All right, he said, bear with me. I just want to give you the most important facts. 12, okay. Oh, this is quite interesting. Some of my printing got cut out. The Indian government has ordered an inquiry into a study. In retaliation, India has launched a full-scale investigation. Well, let me go here. Shockingly, the study itself, hold on. All right. Zero Hedge, a popular alternative media blog, was suspended by Twitter for publishing a story by Indian scientists. Indian scientists found in 2019 the Wuhan coronavirus had found that it had not been naturally evolved, raising the possibility of it being created in a lab. Shockingly, the study itself came under intense criticism online. In retaliation, India has launched a full-scale investigation against the China's Wuhan Institute of Virology. The Indian government has ordered an inquiry into a study conducted in the northeastern state of Nagaland. I have many friends in Nagaland. One of my friends' wife is from Nagaland. By researchers of the US, China, and India on bats and humans carrying antibodies to the deadly viruses like Ebola. The study came under the scanner as 2 of the 12 researchers that belong to the Wuhan Institute of Virology, Department of Emerging Infectious Diseases, and it was funded by the United States Department of Defense Threat Reduction Agency, DTRA. So do you hear that? 12 researchers from the Wuhan Institute of Virology Department of Emerging Infectious Diseases. It was funded by the United States Defense Threat Reduction Agency. So obviously, this program was funded by the United States Defense Threat Reduction Agency. So in other words, it is to reduce the threats, this particular agency. But could it be, just like the Federal Reserve, number one, is not federal, number two, there is no reserves. So they typically name things to help sell a propaganda that actually what they do has nothing to do with the name. So federal is not federal, and reserve has no reserves. This is the U.S. Federal Reserve that makes all of our money. So this is called the Department of Defense Threat Reduction. So now the U.S., we see, is behind this corona virus disease research in Nagaland. At the same time, they're minting a coin of the bat. Very interesting. These are just facts. You could piece it together. These are just giving you facts. Now, the study conducted by the scientists of the Tata Institute of Fundamental Research and the National Center for Biological Sciences, the Wuhan Institute of Virology, and Uniformed Services University of Health and Sciences, and the Duke National University in Singapore is now being investigated for how the scientists were allowed to take live samples of the bats and bat hunters without due permission. It goes on and on and on and on. Do yourself a favor, look up Francis Boyle, Dr. Francis Boyle, and he tells everyone very clearly which program and lab in the US and Canada and China it exactly came from. Okay? So number 9, Dr. Francis Boyle, the author of the legislative on biochemical weapons, says it's not man-made. So there's 9 facts there. Thank you, Mitch, for typing this in. So number 1, start in Wuhan. Number 2, Wuhan is the center point. Anything you want to distribute throughout the country, do it in Wuhan. Number 3, the only biological safety level 4 lab that has the coronavirus in the country. Number 4 definitely comes from a bat. Number 5, United States has come out at the same time that the virus came out, exact same time with the new quarter, which is a bat. Number 6, the Lancit says not from the Lancet Scientific Journal, not from the fish market. Number 7, it was patented in 2017 by the Bill Gates Foundation. Number 8, Rockefeller Group said in 2020 that this would happen. 10 years ago, they said exactly, detailed, step by step, that this would happen this year. Number 9, it is man-made, according to the doctor who is behind it and privy to it, that is in the United States, wrote legislation for the United States. Point number 10 about Wuhan is that it was released before Spring Festival. So here we have 16 million people in the city, and it's dropped right before Spring Festival. If I want to distribute anything worldwide, so as I showed you the web, we have China and we have Wuhan. You see that Wuhan is the hub, it's the center, it distributes all around China. But now you take this before the Spring Festival, and you have about, I forgot what the numbers were, 8 million or so people from Wuhan that leave infected with the virus. Point number 11, at the moment of the virus, there was the largest meal in world history. I believe it was Guinness Book of World Records. They had the largest dinner party in the world. So they have the largest dinner party in the world. Point number 12, they locked down Wuhan 24 hours before Spring Festival. So 24 hours before everybody would leave to travel around the world, especially in Europe, United States, Canada, Singapore, Malaysia, all these places. They have the largest worldwide, the largest in world history, dinner party, where thousands of people came together to share a meal together. And how do Chinese eat? Here's the plate. And here's 8 people around a table. Here's the table. Here's 8 people around the table. All of them have a pair of chopsticks, and the dishes are like this. They go around the table, and everybody puts the chopsticks in their mouth, eats the food, infects the chopsticks with coronavirus, puts it back into the plate to take another bite, and then the wheel is spun to the next person. They put their chopsticks into the coronavirus, put it into their mouth, eat, put it back into the food, and it goes to the next person. And now we have hundreds of thousands of people infected with the Wuhan virus, and they're given 24 hours before the Spring Festival to now go around the world and distribute it. It's just a fact. What I'm telling you is just a fact. Okay? That's fact number 12. Fact number 12. Now, if I think of some more facts, I'll begin to write them down, but I'm just giving you 12 facts. I know what I'm talking about. People think I'm some crazy conspiracy theorist or some kind of weird radical or something like that. I'm giving you the facts. Now, Dr. Francis Boyle believes that this is a lethal weapon. I believe it is a weapon. He believes it's a lethal weapon. I don't believe it's a lethal weapon. Why do I not believe it's a lethal weapon? Well, first of all, let me give you fact number. Let me get another fact sheet. I got 12 facts. Let me give you fact number 13. Fact number 13. Fact number 13. There's at least 2 strains. One is aggressive. Number 2 is non-aggressive. Okay? So, some people have questions. And your questions give me the opportunity to reveal something you don't know. And many people don't know. So please, any questions you have, please ask your questions. I see Mitch wrote here. Asher, what did he write there? He said, thanks, Bishop, go up. Okay, so put your questions there. So fact number 13, there are 2 strains. One is aggressive. Second one is non-aggressive. Okay, there are places. Well, there's some more important. The fact that there's 2 strains brings up another topic, okay? We know it's man-made. Okay, so there's 2 strains. Did it mutate or were 2 strains created? Was one strain created to deal with their enemies, such as Iran? And another strain created to create popular scare. Give it to Tom Hanks, give it to some NBA players, give it to some famous stars and politicians. Give them the non-aggressive strain, which is mostly asymptomatic. So what benefit is asymptomatic? Now, okay, I'm moving from my facts. I've given you 13 facts. Now I want you to think a little bit, okay? So I'm moving away from my facts, and I'm giving you something to think about, okay? I'll tell you what's a fact, I'll tell you what's not a fact. Fact number 13 is there's 2 strains. So now here's not a fact, but I do want to say, well, it is a fact that, let's make that number 14. Number 14 is the non-aggressive strain is mostly asymptomatic. Asymptomatic or like a flu, like a light flu. Okay. Fact number 15. The aggressive is deadly if old or sick, okay? And even healthy people are hit like a truck, okay? So healthy people are hit like a truck. Okay, so fact number 15, asymptomatic is like the non-aggressive one is like a light flu, mostly asymptomatic. Fact number 15, the aggressive one is deadly if you're old or sick, and for those who are healthy, you'll still be hit like a truck with the deadly one. So now here's the question. Now I'm ready to give you a question. Let's scroll up. Mitch says, is there a way to cure it if somebody gets it? Good question, Mitch. According to recent scientific research, what we know is fact number 16, what we know as of today is that it could be, many researchers are saying that it could be a lifelong sickness, whatever, like HIV, herpes, there's some other ones, maybe HPV, so on. These are viruses that remain in the body for life. And when the immune system becomes compromised, it could flare up. So fact number 16 is that some scientists, so I'm just saying it's a fact that it's a fact that some scientists are saying there is a large number of reoccurrences. And it seems to be after you recover from it, it can flare back up because it is a virus that stays in the body. So this is all we know as of now. So we could call it a fact that some doctors say. I don't know if we could call that a solid fact, but some doctors are saying this. They're just finding out now because the short term that this virus has been released upon the world in Wuhan. So now they're seeing in Wuhan some reinfections. Not that much, but once again, we're only 2 months out. Will we see these people to, 10 years from now, 5 years from now, every 6 months, every 2 years, when their immune system low, it flares back up? We don't know. Okay? So as of now, there is no cure, no. Thank you for that question. But please feel free, we have 12 people on now live, feel free to ask more questions. So let me ask you a question. I want you to think. If there's 2 strains, one's aggressive, one's non-aggressive. The non-aggressive is asymptomatic. Maybe you have some light sore throat, maybe a light cough, maybe a little headache, and you're fine. And we know the fact that it's man-made. And there's 2 strains. So if there's 2 strains, and it's the coronavirus that is out now, the COVID-19, not the original corona from the bat, but the COVID-19, which is a hybrid. That's a fact. It is a hybrid. It even has HIV RNA code in it. So this is a hybrid, lab-made. That's a fact. That was fact number 9. Okay. So if there were 2 strains made, one that has the power to kill its enemies, like the premier of Iran, the vice premier of Iran, the main counselor of Iran, the Islamic leader of Iran, so forth. And then there's a non-aggressive, asymptomatic one that can be given to the stars. Why would the stars and celebrities and presidents and their wife, why would they be given the asymptomatic virus? And then their counterpart in the enemy state of Iran given the aggressive virus and get killed. Well, wouldn't that play a narrative? There's what's called COVID-19. They're not really saying COVID-19 and COVID COVID-19-2, they're calling it all in general on the news COVID-19, COVID-19. The strain that's killing world leaders in Iran, and the strain that Tom Hanks and his wife have while they're, on vacation and don't even have a sore throat or a cough, or that's all they have. Or like Trudeau's wife, who's asymptomatic, or one of the congressmen in Philippines is asymptomatic. He has it for a couple of weeks, but he's asymptomatic. So we have the asymptomatic celebrities on the news saying, I got it. And then we have the other government leaders saying, I got it, and then they're dying. It causes an overall panic amongst the nations and amongst the people. So what I'm saying is, I want you to think, what would be the agenda of the COVID-19? Well, if you have the facts already that I have just listed to you, that it was man-made, and that it had to have either leaked or been released. It was patented in 2017. It does come from a bat. They minted the coin, planning this with the bat. It was planned in 2010 by the Rockefeller Foundation. It's played out exactly as it was written. They're no longer hiding it, but they're sharing it in plain sight. What would be the reason to massively release an asymptomatic, non-aggressive strain, and then to very slightly release in key places an aggressive strain to get rid of military troops? It is in the South Korean news, 3,700 North Korean soldiers have the COVID-19. Isn't that interesting? 3,700 soldiers in an enemy state of the world elites have it, that the Iran government has it, killing off their top leaders. They just happen to have the aggressive strain. Well, maybe you believe it's all a coincidence, but that's just another fact. Seems, another fact, the aggressive strain is with our enemies. Such as Iran. And elderly. The aggressive strain seems to be even with the elderly. Well, what is the number one weight in the U.S.? One of the number one weights in the U.S. economy is propping up the Social Security, the elderly payments. What's one of the number one strains in Italy and in Europe? Propping up and supporting the elderly. What's one of the number one strains in China? The aging population. So now we see several things happening. Now, Belgium, which is also tip of the spear of the world elites, global powers. Many of you think the Illuminati is a conspiracy theory. Go to CIA.gov, CIA.gov, type in Illuminati. You'll find that the United States Intelligence Services clearly states that the whole history, the origin, the founders, the members, some of the top members of the Illuminati. It's not a conspiracy. CIA.gov, type in Illuminati. You see it's a real thing. Okay, it's not a conspiracy theory. Who stands to gain? One of the tip of the spears of the Illuminati is the government, is the EU, which is housed in Brussels, Belgium. Also, one of the military facets of the United Nations is based in Brussels, Belgium. Belgium was one of the first countries to enact the euthanasia law. They want to encourage elderly people die. They're the first country to enact the euthanasia law. We were protesting, me and Dr. Miroslav, our church was protesting in Belgium the week that they enacted the euthanasia law. This was in 2000, maybe 2013. They enacted the euthanasia law. They are unapologetically killing babies, abortion rights. U.S. government has been sponsoring abortions all across Africa, all across the poor countries, because they're trying to depopulate the nations, the countries, and the peoples that do not fit into the elite class. So abortion is sponsored in every ghetto in America. It's sponsored all over Africa, and it's U.S. and UN tax dollars paying for the abortions. And then the first country to enact euthanasia is Belgium, which is part ahead of the EU, one of the United Nations military base right there in Brussels, Belgium, to kill off the elderly population. Bill Gates Foundation, which I told you one of the facts, fact number 7, had said that we need to kill off a large percentage of the population to save the planet. And they go after babies and elderly. So this is why there'll be, this could be why, it's not a fact, but it could be why there's an aggressive and a non-aggressive strain. So now let me give you facts about the virus. Because you are wondering, number one, should you be afraid? Should you be afraid of the virus? Let me give you another fact. We found out today that several reports have come out. One of them is from a university, and I should have printed it. I didn't print it. But let me show you this. Here's a fact. 68%. I don't know if you can see that. 68% of people with the non-aggressive strain, COVID-19 period. COVID-19. 68% of all the COVID-19, aggressive and non-aggressive, 68% are unknown. They've never been tested. So what you see, the numbers that you see, is only 32%. So if you want to know how many people have the virus in your country, you are probably only identifying around 32%. There's 68% more, at least 68% more that have the COVID-19 than you know. But the mortality rate, they say of 3.7. So the mortality rate of 3.7 is a grossly overestimated mortality rate. The university had come out with this report in, I think it was in March 2nd or February 22nd. I forgot. I actually have the report. I didn't print it out. But you just hear me now. You can look it up online. You could request to me and I'll forward it to you. So this mortality rate of 3.7 is grossly overestimated because this mortality rate is based upon 32% of the people that we know that have it. So if we factor in the other 68% to that particular mortality rate, you see that the mortality rate begins to plummet. So here you have 32%, and we're seeing this is 32. And we're seeing this much percent get it, and we're saying, oh, this is about 3%. But actually the chart should go up 3 more times. 3 or 4 more times. So actually, if this is the chart now, this isn't 3%. This is actually less than 0.0 something percent. So actually, the real mortality rate of the coronavirus is 0.00 something percent. That is the real mortality rate. Does that make sense to you? Fact number 18. Grossly overestimated mortality. You're not going to see this on your news because it doesn't fit into your corona bat quarter. You understand what I'm saying? It doesn't fit into the agenda that's been planned for 10 years and set out. So you're not seeing this. This is a grossly overestimated mortality rate. So if it's a grossly overestimated mortality rate, that tells me that the majority strain of the COVID-19 that was made, man-made, the majority one that was released was the non-aggressive, with the aggressive obviously for a fact only killing U.S. enemies and the elderly, which are both strains on the International Bilderberg Group goals for economic prosperity for the healthy, vibrant elite. Very interesting. I'm not afraid of the coronavirus. Number one, because I serve the living God. My God is Jehovah, and he is the Lord my God that healeth me. And my confession and declaration is that the coronavirus cannot live in my presence, and it cannot touch my body. And if I do contract it by any means, he is the Lord my God that healeth me. So I'm not afraid for those reasons. But even if I wasn't a Christian, if I had no faith in God and I had no supernatural, I would still not be afraid based on the fact that the real mortality rate for the COVID-19 is less than 0.00 something percent.
I wanna show love and power, to show His mercy and grace, to conquer the nation, declaring His praise, igniting revival with